So we ran basically a sprint process.
Okay.
And I think you've probably been exposed to stuff like this, but it basically starts with brainstorming and then pitching and then consolidating and prioritizing.
Okay.
So I first said, like, everybody for the next one of these, the first meeting, just write down everything that you think is broken or that you want to fix.
This is better when I do this with people who don't work at the same company as me, because then I can say, oh, that must be tough. You have all these problems.
Yeah.
But now these are problems that are internal. I can't pretend that they don't exist.
Yeah.
So you're making this hard for me.
I know. So you're like, I can see your anxiety level just like rising as like you imagine how many cells are in that spreadsheet. So we wrote them all down. I was like, all right. And then I was like, all right, what's the idea? Like, what's the problem this is going to solve? And then what do you want to do about it? So you couldn't just point at problems. You only could say a problem if you had like some notion of what the solution looked like. And then you put your name on it. And then the next meeting was awesome. It was basically Shark Tank. And we got a stopwatch out. And I was like, everybody who submitted an idea has 2 minutes to pitch the group on the merits of your idea.
That's amazing.
It was awesome. It was actually really fun. Like, people were laughing, like having a good time and like, getting into character. And there's a lot of folks in that room who like aren't salespeople. And it was nice to see them put it on, you know? So they go in and they pitch their idea. It's like, this is the problem. This is where I'm seeing it. And people had all these different perspectives on it because like solutions consultants, for example, also overlay on our sales team. And they do a little sooner than the value consultant does. But they had a certain perspective on it. And then marketing, which like isn't in the deals, but certainly has a perspective on what goes on in sales execution, brought different things to the table. So a lot of stuff came out that I hadn't been thinking of or wasn't prioritizing and gave us a lot to think about. So everybody pitched it so that we just, with the goal basically of making sure everybody understood this proposal, this thing on this problem we want to fix. They knew about it. They knew what it was. They knew what it meant. They knew what we were talking about such that they could vote on it. And we did that asynchronously. We broke apart. We gave it a few days. People were able to vote on 5 things. And there was a list of maybe 20.
Okay.
So they picked their top 5. We then scored those, tallied them up, and said, okay, just based on the voting, this is what the implied priority list is. Let's not just run off that. Let's sanity check it and just say, as a group, does this sound right? Or does this crazy? So we then added, like, kind of editorialized, to make sure we got to the right place.
And when I'm one of those people and I'm placing my vote, am I voting for the thing that I think is the biggest blocker for us today? Am I voting for the thing that I think is going to have the biggest yield as an idea? Like, help me understand how to prioritize or place my vote.
Yeah, so it was framed around behavior change.
Okay.
Right? So it's like, which of these things can your team not do now that if they could do, they would have a materially better chance of hitting the numbers?
Got it.
That was it. Like, what do you think is going to help you win the most?